Greetings. Welcome one and all to the city of Corvosa, the setting for this actual play of Curse of the Crimson Throne. All of us here at RollTales recommend that you at least be 18 years of age before joining us on this dark fantasy adventure path. Curse of the Crimson Throne contains mature content and discretion is advised. Now the time has come. Prepare yourselves. This is a tale of cause and effect. Let's play a game. Let's roll. Welcome back, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Curse of the Crimson Throne. Mark Alexander, and this week's crew is Alex, Greg, and Topher as we roll on with the Curse of the Crimson Throne Adventure Path, book number 1, as RollTales presents to you, Anarchy. And, well, last week's session, solid RP, but I think it's a general consensus, and you probably even heard it in our voices last week, and we even said so briefly at the end. The chase system didn't quite work out, did it?
It's a cool idea, but it seems like it favors the ones being chased.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, because there's I've got a lot of things that I can do to impede people, but the system didn't seem to want me to do it.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense, because I must admit, I randomly rolled for all the hazards you came across last week during that chasing, and I just did it, I'm not going to lie, I just did it to save myself a little bit of time, but, you know, I think looking back now, my prep error here was, because there are hazards, and there are even some in, well, let's see. There's 2 sets of hazards. There's the hazards presented in the Pathfinder 2e conversion guide that was made by a Discord user by the name of Ollie Bird. There were those converted hazards that I used, and there's also a ton of hazards in the regular game mastery guide. And there are hazards in there that would have suited to Ark's skill set. For example, there are some with like diplomacy checks, deception checks, society checks. I think I should have prepped it for a more universal skill experience. But I must admit, the one thing that got me about it was this system. I often joke partly that this system is teamwork making the dream work, where perhaps in Pathfinder 1 and even D&D 5e, it's more like being an individual pillar of strength holding up a structure that is the team. And yeah, I just, the chase system last week, I don't know, let us know down in the comments what you think, but I've just felt the chase system last week didn't really help with that. You know, it was very old school in that regard. Wasn't built to the system. I don't know. Maybe they're changing it for the remaster. But we're through that section, and the party did earn some XP for it, and they're actually very, very close to level 4 now. And, well, you did successfully manage to catch Trinia Sabor. So, you know what? Let's crack straight on with today. Let's catch up with all the shenanigans, and let's see what Trinia has to say, because, well, we finished up the section last time, and she was just like, I didn't do anything, and I think this party is quite inclined to believe her. But let's actually see what the reactions will be. So let's start off with a recap, and let's go. So, last time we played Curse of the Crimson Throne, our party of adventurers got their next job by Field Marshal Cressida Croft. This job was in regards to, well, what appears to be King Eardred II's killer. Castle Corvosa announced that he was indeed murdered, assassinated, and the news was put out that apparently it was a young artist by the name of Trinia Sabor, who was commissioned by the missing castle seneschal Neolandus Kaelopoulos to paint a portrait of the late king about a month or so before he died. However, something was very sus about all of this. A massive reward of 6 platinum pieces, 60 gold pieces, which for Pathfinder 2e's economy is a hell of a lot, was put out for this woman's capture, where Castle Corvosa, even by itself, has the time the money and the resources to bring Trinia in on the quiet. Not only that, but a supposed guard at Castle Corvosa, who apparently was Trinia's accomplice in this whole thing, supposedly signed a confession before taking their life in shame of their actions. But it's all a bit weird. When Cressida investigated at Castle Corvosa, she noticed that this guard who jumped out one of the high windows at one of the high towers, she saw signs of a scuffle there. And well, literally riling up the whole city into a damn near mob just to catch this one woman. Nah, something's not right about this. Cressida smelt a rat, and so did the party members. So, Cressida asked them to head over to Moon Street in the Midlands district where Trinia lived. She received this information from her contact Carlo Orsini. And well, she has asked the player characters to go to Moon Street and retrieve Trinia and well, get her to a place of safety where she could be properly questioned about this entire matter. Off to Moon Street they went. They dealt with Trinia's neighbours who were sticking up for her. Not aggressively, not violently, but trying to run distractions for Trinia to get away. However, Romeo, very cleverly, climbed up around the roofs of the shingles and managed to intercept Trinia at her window. However, she managed to slip away and a chase began. But thanks to the party's actions, they were not too far behind her, as the chase over the shingle rooftops of Corvosa took it to, well, brand new areas of the Pathfinder 2e system. Some we liked, some we didn't like. But in the end, the party was successful in capturing the artist. And that is where we bring today's game back in. All right, everybody. So, you all are on the shingles of Corvosa. All around Moon Street, well, where Trinia's flat is, realistically, you're perhaps over here. Just off to the northeast of Moon Street, just a little bit in the Shingles district as she tried to get away. But you managed to catch up with her, and as soon as you do, she breaks down crying in front of you all, and she's just broken and pleading. I didn't kill anybody. I swears. I've been set up. The floor is yours.
Well, I am inclined more to believe you, to be perfectly honest. We are simply here to escort you to the Citadel so we can actually hear your side of what happened, because everything seems a bit too fishy for my liking.
So you are here to arrest me then?
Yes and no.
Well,
Think of it as more of an interview, to be perfectly honest.
technically not an arrest, but more what's the word?
Protective
custody.
custody. Yeah.
Yeah.
She...
Basically. Sorry.
No, she just says, oh, you want to bring me in for questioning?
Yes.
Now, we've dealt with killers and murderers before, and not one time has the amount of reward has been that high. So, we are inclined to believe that you are innocent, but there is a mob paying for blood. So the quicker we can get you somewhere safe, the better for you, and the better for the town.
Okay. She kind of tries to compose herself and she says, well, It's been about 30 seconds and you haven't drawn your weapons to try and kill me or something. She stands up gingerly. Very well then. She's just flabbergasted. It doesn't take a sense motive check to tell that she has absolutely no idea what is going on in terms of why this is happening to her. It's kind of like one of those things where if she is actually guilty, then give her an Academy Award because you're looking at the best actress that Parisia has ever produced. But she just says, okay then, how do you intend me to get me to Citadel Volshnak? The entire city's looking for me. And she actually looks over at the shingles and tries to manage to see through the gaps of the district back down onto the streets, where out on the main roads you can just make out that the gatherings are still around looking for this woman.
Well, we can change what you look like. Shouldn't be too hard. Well, mainly your clothing, but no one pays too much attention to the face if the clothing's right.
She thinks about it and she says, well, I do know a little bit of magic, so that's true, but the reward notice has a very, very descript. She just says, let's put it this way. They been informed, and she's kind of notioning to the rabble rousers, of what I look like. My wanted notice was very descriptive. I was in Reefclaw Run Market when the criers ran out. I was lucky to get back here from old Corvosa.
That is a bigger issue.
Well, you
Well,
said
clothing.
Is
Well, you
there
did-
anyone? Oops.
No, go ahead, Romeo. Go ahead, Topher.
Is there anyone looking up at the roofs after us running across them?
Actually, no. The shingles of this region, pretty much as in the descriptor last session, conceal even daylight from properly breaking through down to below. And as for other shingles dwellers, nothing right now. If you ask Trinia about it, she will basically express that this part of the shingles is kind of akin to almost a road. No one really lives in this part of the shingles, although she does express, and she says, well, whatever we're doing, can we get off this part of the rooftop soon? As I said, this is the road of the shingles, and no one lives in this part apart from a few nasties. Basically, this is the Final Fantasy World Map random encounter area of Corvosa.
Ark, you said you can change the clothes. Could you produce like a guard's cloak with a hood, or?
I can change absolutely everything of their clothing.
Oh, if we could do that, then hide her face with the modicum of disguise with the hood.
And you do know that Cressida mentioned last time that there's agents, trusted agents, that she gave you identifier markers for, all over the place, even some near Moon Street. It's, yeah, if you can find a way to get a basic disguise for her, just to cover her face, then I'll say you would get her to one of the agents. without any problems, unless you have an idea for yourselves.
I can change. I can change everyone's clothing to suit guards or anything we need. To be perfectly honest. So I can change. Yeah, I can't change their identifying their face. I can only change their clothes. All right.
So what's Ark going to do then?
Ark is going to cast using the spell scroll he's had for a while.
Yep.
Where is it? Yes. Befitting outer.
Outfit. Befitting
attire. Attire. Yeah.
Attire.
I thought the spell thing would pop when I use click users.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's spell scrolls, unfortunately, they just come up with first level spell scroll. You have to normally manually enter the spell, but I am aware of befitting attire, so I will just say what it does. You collect the target with an illusion shaping their clothes and worn items into one suitable for a particular occasion. You visualize the occasion and the spell creates an illusionary attire customized to each target. For instance, if you visualize a noble bull, armor would appear to be fine clothing. This doesn't change identified details of the target's appearance other than their clothes. Any creature that touches the attire uses a seek action to examine it, or otherwise interacts with it can attempt to disbelieve your illusion. So, what are you changing this attire into? What is the befitting situation?
The befitting situation is guard attire. Guard attire with hoods. Enough, not fresh, enough to look worn, slightly beaten, so that they know that this person's been out for a while. Is not fresh.
Alright, worn.
Worn.
Well worn. Okay, so Crimson, are we talking Crimson Guard / Corvosan Guard attire here?
Yes.
Okie dokie. So, you change Trinia's clothing into Corvosan Guard attire. And I presume you prepare to leave the shingles at that point?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You start to leave the shingles, and I need to make a random encounter roll. Because Cressida did warn you, if guards were to go into Midlands at this point, they would start a riot.
But there are other agents, not just Midlands. So.
Yep. However, on an 8, you don't pull. With the guard attire, and just one singular guard, then the DC for a random encounter would have had to be 14 plus. However, you make it down off the shingles without any issue, and you do take Trinia to one of Cressida's agents nearby, who is there with a huffing and puffing Ronish, as he says, been informed of the situation, but looks like you've already got it sorted. Is this the lady in question?
I put my finger to my lips to make sure he's
not being stupid. He's being quiet.
And we just give a nod.
Right then. Oh, look at the time. It's nearly tea time. Let's go and have some tea then. And he nods in a sort of like motion with his head back towards the citadel. All right. So you successfully take Trinia back to Citadel Volshnek. I will just remove her from the board for now, and feel free to move yourselves back down there. Alright, so you head back to the Citadel, and Ronish just basically tells you, like, the old city has gone to the hills. You've probably seen it for yourself walking around, but whew, it's like the city's almost looking for a fight.
They've been edging for a fight since the riots. All you needed was a match.
Well, some of the more unscrupulous lot, shall we call it that, on the way down here, yeah. Some were trying to use this situation to further their own agendas, especially prejudices towards the Varisians and the Schwanti.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
Just what we need.
No, it's the reason why I was late, and I apologise, was I had to break up a couple of fights. It was, yeah, it's a lot of these people were out looking for this woman, but there were a good few as well using this situation as an excuse to settle some old grudges that, well, after 300 years, unless you're an elf like Romeo, no offence, should be long dead. And Topher, I've got an interesting question for you. If you're with us, my friend. So, Romeo has been with the city from the beginning. I believe you even said he was on the first boat.
Yeah.
So, when the Chelish first came to these shores over 300 years ago, they did run into the Schwanti, who was situated around the Grand Mastaba. They appeared to not have worshipped the site, but it was of significance to them. What was Romeo's reaction and thoughts and feelings with all the, well, to be blunt, all the colonializing BS that went on back then? I mean, the Schwanti, for the past several decades now, have tried to make peaceful relations with the city and actually coexist and live with the Corvosan people. But I just want to know, from someone who's been here with the beginning and has seen all of this crap, what was his thought process and stuff like that throughout all of that?
Well, for him, he was drawn more because of something almost like dark. Like there was an energy that revolved around where like the castle Corvosa was and things like that, that almost like called to him. And when the Schwanti seemed to constantly like vibe towards it, and, like almost try and like not almost worship, but like they demanded to be a part of it. It just kind of made him want to know more, and it's kind of why he became a fly sergeant, was so that he could get closer to where normal citizens wouldn't be able to tread.
Give me a private occultism check, please. Let's get interesting.
It did. There we go.
Okay, I will say that is a good roll that you've made. So let's do the results. Let's put this one on. Here we go. So, hearing the stories that Rodish was telling of the Corvosan citizens taking advantage of this situation to flare up some old prejudices, we actually flash back to nigh just over 300 years ago, where a very much younger Romeo Sandweaver, and Topher, I hope you go with me on this, and anything you want to change or interject, feel free. Let's do a bit of old-fashioned freeform here. Romeo, you were drawn to Corvosa by dreams. Now, back then, Cheliax was a providence. Not the one it is today, but it was a providence who pretty much worshipped the late god Eredin, the god of prophecy, the last Aslanti. And so, having these dreams almost seemed almost like a prophecy to you. So much so that you got on a boat, left your home, and came all the way here to Varisia to see the object in these dreams. So, what exactly did he dream over 300 years ago? You mentioned the Grand Mistaba, but what was it exactly? What was the pull?
Sorry, muted.
It's all right.
There was something like almost like light was being drawn to it. It felt like there was almost like a life force was being pulled in its direction, and it made him. It was literally watching, almost as if people that he had connections to, that he'd never met, never seen, never talked to, seemed to be drawn to this location, and it made him think that he was supposed to be seeing these people, that he was meant to actually be introduced to these people.
So this pull that drew you all the way here. I mean, for example, in Origin, was Romeo was Romeo Chelish in Origin, Topher? And this is, you know, as I mentioned, this is earlier Cheliax that was a thriving. It's certainly not the Cheliax today that basically only survived by making deals with Asmodeus. So, what is Topher? Topher, is Romeo originally Chelish then, or was he just in Cheliax at the time, or you know, was the pull so strong that he left wherever his home was, went to Cheliax, and jumped on the boat? How strong was this for him?
Him as himself before he became Sandweaver. He came from quite a distance away. When he moved to Cheliax, he became basically Sandweaver.
So this pull was pre-Cheliax.
Yeah, it basically drawed him, and it was drawing him that much that he actually took on a name of a person that he had seen in a vision.
First name or surname?
The surname.
Okay, right. I figured, but just wanted to check.
Yeah.
All right then. So off your occultism check, as you had these dreams of this Grand Mistaba, that pull, that energy you were thinking, left you with a sensation. And this pull, this sensation, was one of lust. And when I say lust, I don't just mean the lust of the loins, Topher. I'm talking about other forms of lust as well, like lust for power, lust for, in this case,
knowledge,
and need. These dreams made you lust for this knowledge, to uncover these secrets that this mysterious pyramid held. And when you got to Corvosa, and on the brief occasions, or on the occasions in the early days, when you got up close to the mastaba, this energy, this pull, basically left a feeling within inside you, very similar to perhaps the Shwanti around you, that you had to stay here. This place was yours now, a lust for home. That particular pull, that particular energy, you haven't been able to figure out since you've been in this city for the past 300 years, but you can and you do know, as I will reveal, you rolled a 28 for a regular success, that energy, that sensation, that feeling is very, very old. Even old for an elven lifetime. You know, humans can look at 1,000 years as ancient history, where for an elf, that was your grandfather's generation, if not your parents'. However, this is old even for you. Ancient even for you. And that is where we will cut back into the modern day as Bronish is talking about all about this stuff and all about the all the BS that's going on right now. We cut back into the modern day where all of you notice that Romeo has a faraway look in his eye.
Well, you're all right there. Seem a little bit lost.
Daydreaming?
Sorry.
Galerion to Romeo, you there, mate?
Sorry. I was just. What was I don't remember. I do apologize. I was just. It was just something that you'd said.
Are you really missing that coffee shop?
A little, yes. It's been a rather eventful week to 2 weeks. It was just something that a few centuries ago. You see, I'm not, well, I'm guessing you probably know that I'm not originally from here, considering I am far older than the city itself. But there was something that drawed me here all those years ago. And, when you were mentioning it started to pull on strings again.
Well, you with us in the you with us in the era now?
Yes, I am. Is the castle in view? Are we inside?
From this section of town, even if you were in the citadel itself, you could just look out of a window, yeah. and as long as it was west facing, you can see Castle Corvosa.
Yeah. He just kind of looks out to the castle.
All right.
It's strange. That castle has had so many things happen within it.
Well then, I'm not sure what's going on, so shall we talk to Miss Croft then?
Indeed.
Oh yes, we must bring this lady to.
Yeah, Trinier is skirted off towards some trusted guard officials that are still loyal to the Field Marshal, despite all these recruiting efforts recently by the Crown. And you head back into her office as she looks at you all eagerly upon your return, and she notions, did it go well?
Well, see
Well.
for yourself.
A little bit of structural damage, but everyone's unscathed.
You didn't harm her, did you?
No. But once this is all said and done, and I start doing the nonchalant scratching on the back of the head, it's like, I don't owe her a door.
You owe her a door. You smashed that.
No,
You
I
do
owe
owe
her,
a window.
I owe her a wall and a window,
wall.
not a
Oh,
door.
because that's so much better.
Yeah.
She looks at Christina Croft looks at you, right, Farrell, and just says, "Oh, standard operating procedure, then, was it?"
Let's run straight through it.
Besides, we can blame it on the Hell Knights if everything goes wrong. It's their MO as well.
She looks at you to start to admonish you, but actually pauses just before the first word comes out, because that is actually pretty true, and she just shrugs as if to say, "Fair." And she says, "Well, well done, well done. Thank you. That was. Thank you." And what she does is she will reward you all with a total of 60 gold pieces, which I'm now going to divvy up between the four of you, including Ronish, because otherwise it would not be fair for the sake of balance. So she divvies up the 60. Let's see. Here we go. Let's try. Hold on. I just need to make one quick adjustment. But she's basically sorting out the coinage for you. Is there anything you wish to RP or ask her while I sort this out?
Can we see the guards that are looking after the? I can't remember her name. The young
Trinia.
girl, Trinia.
Mm-hmm.
Are they in the same room as us, or have they taken her to somewhere else?
They have taken her to somewhere else, but somewhere safe. These are the guard members that Cressida basically said are still loyal to her, and I'll even just say, as the game master, she is safe for now.
Just because, just in case, because that gold can still tempt even the purest of people.
Yeah, no, these guard in particular, who are still very loyal to the Field Marshal, are just like you in terms of figuring out, wait a minute, this is a bit sus. There is corruption here in Corvosa, especially during such times, but there are a few guard members at the moment who still hold to the ideas and the vows the oaths they took, so Yeah, I'll say for the sake of ease and time, she is safe for now. But
What is going to happen to the girl?
well, simply, I am merely going to ask for a trusted cleric at the Grand Vault. We have a working relationship with the Bank of Abadar, but well, she just says, I'm going to ask for a trusted cleric. We're going to cast the Zone of Truth spell upon her, and we are just going to question her. After that, she actually folds her arms. I'm not sure at the moment, and I must admit I would not mind your advice on this subject, because if Castle Corvosa finds out she's here, then by royal command, they could instruct me to hand her over, and there would be nothing that I could do without inciting full-blown defiance, and, well, potentially be charged with even treason if Iliosa is feeling petty enough. And I'm concerned with the immaturity of our new queen. There is something akin to that she may do. I want to discern whether or not the girl is innocent, and to be honest with you, I think she is. The whole situation at the castle just stunk rotten, but I'm not entirely sure what to do after that. Do you four have any suggestions?
Do you have someone trusted enough to potentially take her in? Someone that not even the nobles will go after?
Ronish speaks up. Well, if we could find him, I suppose we could give her the blackjack. Cressida raises...
Yes, him.
Yeah, Cressida raises an eyebrow and actually looks at you, Ark. That's technically not a bad idea, but blackjack hasn't been seen in 10 years.
Do you happen to maybe have like carrot juice and some coconut oil or olive oil, either one of those?
She looks at you with a quizzical expression. Not in the Citadel, but I could certainly get it. Once the riots have once these near riots have calmed down. Why, what are you thinking?
Well, if we can't find someone that can hold her, there's a flower store that she could hide out in, and I know ways of dyeing someone's hair with carrot juice and olive oil.
Cressida folds her arm. She folds her arms and she says, "Not a bad idea, but And
Maybe give her a haircut.
No.
Get some clothes, and she can stay inside the flower store.
Haircut wouldn't be enough. She's quite distinctive.
Even with a hair jelly, I could probably track her down just by the description.
Yeah, and actually Cressida actually reaches over to her desk and she actually looks at all of you with a parchment in her hands, and she says, this was given to me while I was gone. This was the official notice from the criers that they were told to read out in regards to a descriptor of Miss Trinia Savor, and it's very, very detailed. And what she does is she speaks out aloud Trinia's descriptor, and it is very, very to the point. Like height, suspected weight, eye color, hair color, styling, all the way down to Trinia's almost, and I mean this in terms of physical appearance, not in terms of anything else, but in terms of the scripter also talks about her shape and her stature as well. It's basically enough detail was in the Crier's announcement where even if you hadn't met this woman before in your life and you were a decent artist yourself, you could probably draw / paint a reasonable portrait of Trinia from this descriptor alone.
That's oddly specific.
Yes, somebody at Castle Corvosa was really paying attention.
Yes.
Something doesn't smell right with all them.
This really doesn't sound right.
So, good idea, Romeo, but I'm not quite sure that a haircut and a hair dye is going to quite, well, no joke or pun intended, but cut it.
Are the temples still neutral?
She thinks about it. Well, there's the Grand Cathedral of Pharasma in the Grey District. They're probably too neutral. There's the Bank of Abadar, the Grand Vault, but their mission is to uphold the laws of society.
No, they'll just hand her over.
There's the Pantheon of the Many in the South Shore District. However, I am not sure what sort of... do you think is the best way to word this? I'm not sure what their allegiances are. They're technically neutral and open to any and all, but let's say if there was another god or goddess who was focused on justice or society akin to Abadar, then that could be trouble. There's the Temple of Serenray over by Overton Way, and that may be a good place, but we would certainly have to assure them of Trinia's innocence first. And then she thinks about the last temple and she kind of screws up her face.
Yes, let's not talk about that one.
Giving her over to the
make a deal.
Yeah, giving her over to the Asmodeans may not be a good idea.
It probably wouldn't be the worst idea if you're willing to make a deal.
Yeah, pretty much. But you would have to read the contract down to the letter. And I suppose if the deal was good, the Asmodeans would not be a bad idea, but...
I don't think even the Hell Knights would go against them.
No, they certainly wouldn't. But the problem is you would have to read that contract to start to finish, and then probably have to reread it and triple read it. And I don't think we've got the time to, or I don't think Miss Sabor even has the time to do that.
Also, those invisible ink things. They're good at them.
Pretty much. So I think what we need is, we need somebody who is a little more, I don't want to say criminally based, but someone who's not afraid to bend the law. Because I'm prepared to do that if it works to the end of keeping the law in. I'm a firm believer that laws are meant to be broken, but they're meant to be broken in order to be made better. They need to be broken and then restructured. Every law is not perfect. Every law has a flaw to it. So we need someone who is prepared to do just that.
I remember a speech you gave about that a long time ago about tempered steel and how a sword, even bent, can still work.
Steel sword. Have you four by chance met Vencarlo Orsini yet? He has been requesting for you to meet with him.
No, I unfortunately haven't found the time. I've been tied up with some information gathering.
Ah, perfectly understandable. Well, I think may now be the time. He has contacts. He was the one who even gave me Miss Sabor's address in Moon Street. He's not afraid to certainly speak against the crown. Has done on many occasions. And he does live quite close to Arcona Palace. Now,
Ooh.
yes, but despite the issues you've been having with the Arconas, there would be no way in the hells that the Guard, nor the Hell Knights, nor even the Sable Company will strictly go near there. So
No.
maybe she'll be protected by proxy.
Yes, they can't come in storming. They have too much power to...
It's
Was
their
it?
it's their territory.
Is it unthrown? Upthrown? What's the word I'm looking for? Something
here.
thrown.
Mark here, I'm not sure.
There's one that it's like dethroned, but it's not for. It's a really weird idiom for it.
If you know, answers below in chat. Don't forget
It's
to hit
like
that like and subscribe
Yeah.
button.
I've come across it a couple of times in the older fantasy novels.
The only thing I can think of is depose.
The pose isn't.
That's not right.
No,
No.
because there is something. I can't remember what it is. It's going to drive me nuts now.
It's probably going to be in a couple of. It will probably be either today or in a couple of sessions time. Greg's going to shout out of nowhere what the word was. But if you know in chat, still say chat from my streaming days. But if you know, for those watching and listening, feel free to leave us a comment below.
Dethrone. There we go.
What's it?
Dethrone.
Dethrone. Oh, okay. All right then. So we remember the word.
I
and-
remembered the word.
Well done. Well done. Well done. You. I don't know what sort of word I don't know what sort of reward I could give you for that, but
Don't
have a
worry,
gold-
I'm doing it myself. I'm giving
have a
myself
gold-
a pat.
have
I'm
a
like,
gold
yeah.
star, Greg. Have a gold
Yeah.
star.
I've got a word.
Achievements. All right. In all seriousness, though, she just turns around and she says, "This is Cressida. Well, we could try Vencarlo. He has contacts. His contacts is. He doesn't work in the underworld, but he does have underworld contacts. If my words are making sense.
Mm-hmm.
Fingers in many pies. But, what say you? Shall we use Master Orsini, or do you all have another idea?
Well, I think for now she's safe enough here, but as he has requested our presence, we might as well have a chat with him.
Yes, I can't think of any promising leads to the Stoa? Stoa? Is it stowed? I'm bad with words today.
Would you like to cast Thesaurus?
I would.
First level spell, you know all the words.
I would love that. That'd be a great spell.
That would actually be
That would be perfect for a wizard's focus. just a dictionary.
Yeah, instead of having a spell book, they have a combined dictionary thesaurus for their spell book. Oh god, I think that would really work actually.
Mm.
All right. Okay, so what will happen is Cressida will turn around and she says, well, I will tell you what. If you are prepared to wait here for around about an hour, I'm pretty sure I can retrieve Master Orsini and bring him to the Citadel. Yes, the streets are jammed, but Vencarlo has his ways.
Well, if he's as good as you say he is, then I think he will part like the seas. Anyone in his way.
Okay. So, does the party? What would the party like to do? So, Christina will summon Master Orsini. Do you want to wait around for him, or do you want to do your own thing?
I've honestly got no pressing business. I think I will just find somewhere to sit for now and go through Victoria's notes.
All right.
I'm gonna head down to the quartermaster and get another shield.
Yeah, that's fine. They look at you a bit cheekily because they only just given you that shield, so the quartermaster will turn around and say to you that you're gonna have to pay for the next one. But
Yeah, I was going to.
You got the coinage. You got the coinage to do it. How I'm doing the shops is, there's still the shop loot boxes that I made, but also to make it easier, if there's anything in the compendium that you want that is not uncommon and that matches up to your level, which is free, you can also purchase now without incident. Everything you've done, the donations you've made to the Corvosan Quartermaster, they're well and truly willing to help sort you out now, so no worries there. Okay, so you have about just an hour of downtime. Romeo, is there anything you're doing for the next hour?
He'll probably he's worried about how many people are getting brought into this little small group of people that shouldn't really know that she's around, and he's worried that we're bringing one too many people, so he's trying to know if Orsini is trustworthy and if he has any connections that could possibly be a problem that could cause the young girl.
Okay, well normally gather information takes 2 hours, but in 1 hour you can either gather information with an increased DC, or you can take the time and just make a society check of what you can recall about Vencarlo Orsini. Which one would you like to have a go at?
Because I'm guessing he knows that Orsini has the Fighters Academy.
Yeah, he has the Jordan Academy up north in Ornelos.
Yeah.
Actually, just want to add for a side note, because this would be interesting to Romeo. Right next to Orsini Academy, I'm not sure I marked it on the map yet. I have. I will bring it up now. Right next to Orsini Academy is actually a place that you're very familiar with, and that is Endurin's Military Academy, where all members of the Sable Company, the Corvosan Guard, get trained. Actually, you did your training there, so you know the area particularly well. But go ahead. Please continue, Topher.
So he's wanted to know if any people that Orsini's worked with or trained has been moved into working with the castle or working with the queen and things like that. He wants to know if there's anyone that would be possibly watching out for him and his movements. Because if he's walking from one place to the Citadel, even if he has his own routes, there could be people who know his routes and be inclined to figure out why he would be summoned to the Citadel.
Again, the checks still stand, my friend.
So-
It's either recall knowledge over the space of an hour, which will be society, or as it's only 1 hour and not 2, and Majenko is not with you at the moment because he's off doing other things for ARC right now. It could be a diplomacy gather information roll just with a higher increased DC.
Okay, so I'll do diplomacy.
Alright, so you're going to gather information. Okay then,
Yeah.
diplomacy is always a open check, so go ahead.
That is a 19.
19. So over the next hour, you generally ask around about Vencarlo Orsini, and I'm actually trying to find information on him in the section. Here we go. So that is a regular success. Everyone you ask about Vencarlo here at the Citadel is, well, the best way I can put it is a glowing review. The DC for the record was 15 standard, but with the increase in challenge it was a DC 17, so you made it by 2. And everyone you speak to, this seems like a man who is incredibly well respected and one of the most renowned teachers of the honourable arts of fencing and swordplay. You hear he's a very charming man. However, the only thing that you learn that seems a bit off to his glowing reputation is that apparently a few years ago, well, I don't exactly know how many years ago now. I'm looking for that information, but I can't quite get it. The only thing that seems to mar his glowing reputation was that he seemed to have had a falling out with 2 of his prize starred students. One of these students actually appears to be a crown sergeant of the Corvosan Guard, a man by the name of Grau Soldado, but what the guard members tell you about is that Grau was once Vencarlo's personal protege, but there was a very, very bad falling out between him, Vencarlo, and his other personal protege, who you actually find out was Sabina Merrin, the Queen's handmaiden, and current leader of the Palace Guards. But that is the only stain on Vencarlo's reputation, that apparently there was this falling out where apparently the 3 of them, him, Sabina, and Grau, pretty much hate each other now. But that is what you learn. So in terms of whether or not you think there's potential connections or those around the area that is connected to him who might want to serve the crown, it's up to your interpretation. Although I will say that the information that's given to you is probably not, because he is an outspoken critic of the monarchy, and also as Sabina technically works for the monarchy, he's not going to want anything to do with her. So that's what you learn over the space of an hour. Interpretate that information as you will.
Cool.
Okay. So the hour passes, and in Crusader's office, you are introduced to a man who is in his 50s, but is still in incredible shape despite his age. His clothing is roughed up and slightly disheveled today, but you get the impression that they have used this as a disguise, so to speak, to slip through the crowds unnoticed. He is of old Chelish blood, from a very old Chelish line, perhaps as old as Romeo's lifespan. He just has that look about him, you just know instinctually, and he has a look of stern seriousness on his face, but there is softness there, as if fully understanding the situation. And you walk in on this scene between him and Cressida. As you come in, he's speaking to you. Well, he's speaking to Cressida, and you come in on the conversation at the sentence of 6 platinum pieces for one girl. That was not even the price of a bounty for regicide back in the old Chelish days, let alone I do not know about Cheliax now, but it was ridiculous, Cressida. It was... Oh. Aha! We have company. And you all walk into the room, and you see this man as Cressida turns around and she says, "Ah, thank you for returning. May I introduce to you all Swordmaster Vencalo Orsini of the Orsini Academy in Old Corvosa." And he looks, smiles and bows, and he says, "It is a pleasure to meet the four of you. I've heard so much about each and every one of you. I was hoping you would come visit me at the Academy, but..." And he looks at Ark. "From what I understand, you have been having an interesting time with the Arconas."
I believe everyone who interacts with the Arconas have an interesting time.
He actually smiles, an almost boyish smile, and he goes, "Oh, believe me, do I not know it? They are a thing, that is for sure. Right. So, Miss Sabor, if you would entrust me, I can certainly take her to Old Corvosa, and I can certainly keep her safe away from the prying eyes of all of the forces of Corvosa. No offense, Fly Sergeant. But Cressida here trusts you, so I will trust you. The question is, are you going to be prepared to trust me?"
May I ask how you got here?
He nods and he says, "Simple. In Old Corvosa, I traversed the Shingles district there, and then when I got over the bridge and headed into the... hold on. So many districts here in Corvosa. So when I crossed the bridge and I came close to the Laughing Wave Inn in the North Point district, I actually took the sewer system the rest of the way. People were crowding the streets and began looking in the shingles, but no one was looking below." And he almost looks at himself in embarrassment. "So apologies for the smell coming off me right now." And now that he's mentioned it, you can tell he's tried to clean himself up, but there is the smell of sewage upon him. As he just meekly says again, "I apologize, but that is how I got here. I took the sewers and I managed to rise from the tunnels just outside of Eardred's Walk. Then I use the back alleys that tightly compress Eardred's Walk to go down Brofferman Street and then turn and here into the Citadel. The mobs are not converging here because, well, they don't appear to be stupid.
Well, that's a good way to get around. It's actually where I was looking for Trini herself. When we were at her flat, I was going to see if she was in the sewer systems, as not many people want to go down there when considering the creatures that live amongst the sewer systems.
Indeed, my friend, there is the Odiargs and there is also the were-rats as well. Luckily, I know the routes to avoid them both.
Well, and you believe you can get her back that way?
Yes, I believe so. It shouldn't be too hard. All you have to do is use something a bit more powerful than the befitting attire spell. And with that, he pours, he actually takes out of a pouch that is on his back, on his belt, and he puts these alchemy vials onto the table. As he says, these are infiltrators' elixirs, very powerful. They change one's entire appearance. And with that, Master Ornelos, I mean no disrespect to your skills or the spell scroll, but this is not the first time I have done such a thing. And he looks at Cressida, and I do not think it will be the last. And Cressida, with an embarrassing cough, says, Then Carlo and I go way back to my moonlighting days. He's helped me out of many a jam. So, what is it to be? Cressida trusts you, so I will trust you, and I will allow the decision to be yours.
I said take her with you. That's better than anything I can currently think of.
I always trust Croft, so if she says you're one to trust, then you have my trust.
Are you sure no one will come looking for her with you, or anyone that you have any beef with that will possibly want to claim that you might be a part of this?
He looks at you with a smile and he just says, Well, there are people that I have beef with, for certain. However, in terms of coming to me to take advantage of that beef would be foolish. So close to Arcona Palace, so close to the Enderin Military Academy, and even, he looks at Ronash, even your dojo in the Jade House. It would be very dangerous, and I have safe houses all over Old Corvosa. I will put it to you this way, and I will say this with full confidence. If anybody could find her, then, quite frankly, they will have deserved to find her. That's how confident I am that my safe houses will keep her safe. Monash speaks up and he just says, "Well, if my dojo is close by, then I could always, I could always ask my sensei to keep an eye out as well. I've been speaking to him about everything that's going on, and well, yeah, he's with me on this subject. He thinks there's something else that's going on, and that we need to be prepared. But yeah, if it reassures you, my sensei could also keep an eye on the local region."
A solid plan. Yes. Words today. God, my brain. It's not
It's
like
only
they've
words.
Words are hard, okay?
Words are hard. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So what's the group's consensus?
I think it's a good idea. I can't exactly stash her at the academy because they'll just go, no. Il's End's too dangerous. Yeah, I can't think of anywhere else. The dojo might be semi-decent, but a lot of people come and go from there.
I mean, she can barricade herself in Lancer Street, but again, if anyone spots her, she's at risk. Same if she was at my flower shop. So, best bet.
Best bet.
Take her to someone who can keep her safe.
Yep.
The Orsini Academy is right by those three institutions as well, with the Jade House, Entry Military Academy, and the Kona Palace. If people sniff around there, that's going to be bad news for them. All right. So
I do have
go.
my reservations, but I will go with what the others have said.
Carlo folds his arms, but not aggressively, but he just says, "Very well. I'm not sure what reservations you may have, but that is fair. And truth be told, role reversal, I would probably have them myself." He looks at
I
Cressida.
believe there's that saying, too many cooks spoil the broth.
He nods, as if to entirely understand and getting what you mean, and he says, "That is true. That is true. But with what is happening in the city, I could counterpoint, Mr. Sandweaver, that you will potentially need all the help you can get in the upcoming days." He looks at Cressida. "I think we will all need all the help we can get in the upcoming days. If that young, dumb whippersnapper who currently sits on that crimson throne continues to make the choices she is making."
Not a fan.
He looks at you and he says, "No, I am not. She is just a spoilt brat from Cheliax who came here for easy money. Eadred had his issues, and believe you or me, I certainly had no personal love for that man either. But for all intents and purposes, his rule was just and fair. It's just the man was an absolute..." And he kind of, yeah. He kind of, yeah.
He gets what he's going. Yeah.
Yeah. He just says, "Iliosa is young, dumb, and my biggest problem is she is not stupid. To me, there is a difference between being dumb and being stupid. Wisdom, if you will. Iliosa is intelligent. very, very good aristocrat, knows how to work the noble courts, but she does not know what to do with that intelligence, if you understand my meaning.
I get.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I am completely on board with what you're selling.
Ugh. He just shakes his head and he just goes, I mean, look at this past week. She released the information to try and inspire trust with the people, win trust with the people, especially those who were turning around, calling her harlot and accusing her of killing the king, being a usurper. But in the end, all it just did was it brought those speculation back, and a young woman who was hired by my friend Neolandus Kaelopoulos has been accused of murdering him, and not only that, being a paramour of the king's. And the one thing I do know from Neolandus is, if there is one good thing that Iliosa has done for him, he stopped his ways when he married her. He gave it all up for her.
Well, how I see it is, it seems he's using it more as a justification for her new force. If these riots continue, all these social disruptions continue, and the Guard, unfortunately, underpowered as they are, can't keep it in check in any same way. She has more reason to bring it in.
Are you suspecting something more devious then, Master Ornelos?
Oh,
yes. For the record, I know of you, your reputation, and what your role is at the Academy. I used to work with a predecessor of yours as well, but what are you suspecting?
Well, rumors are... Well, not rumors, more or less confirmed that she's forming another Guard force recruiting out of the already established forces, forming her own group. Well, if her own group can solve the disruptions where the others failed, more justification for them to continue existing, pulling power from other forces, giving it more to the throne.
Ah, yes, this Guard force. It is a pet project of hers that she has had for years. But Eardred has always denied her. She's always wanted a personal Guard force originally for herself. But Eardred said no because of the three established forces that Corvus already had. But now that he is gone...
Indeed.
This is... He just kind of shakes his head again in disbelievement, and he says, "This is not the time
For a power play.
No, this is not the time for a power play or for a structural shake-up of Corvus' forces. What in the hell is she doing?"
Whatever she wants. She's the queen.
Well, regardless, Cressida speaks up. Whatever she wants is not our concern right now. What is our concern is getting Miss Sabor to a place of safety, and then questioning her and discerning what truth we can get out of her. For example, the people are turning around and saying that she was a paramour of the king's, but then Carlo here is also saying that the king has not had another paramour since he married Ilioso. So we need to find out what's fact and what's fiction, but I'm starting to get worried now, especially from what we've just been talking about. There is more fictions than facts right now, creating a narrative that somebody wants enforced.
Well, someone definitely wants it enforced. Convenient Guard jumping off a tower?
Ronish is kind of almost having a staring into space moment, as he is away with, as the old saying goes, he's away with the fairies, as he just comes back into reality and he says, yeah, And he kind of looks at you all poignantly and he says, a mutual friend of ours would also, and is also, very concerned with where this is going. And with that, he kind of actually taps the pocket that Zalara's deck is in.
Oh. Well, if our mutual friend's involved and concerned, this is definitely unwelcomed.
Well, whatever allies you have, hold close to them and use them, because I got the feeling that this is going to get worse before it gets better. Cressida, send word out to Miss Zabor has been captured, but send an official statement to the castle that she is being held in protected custody while she is being questioned. Castle Corvosa and Her Royal Majesty, as omnipotent as she is, still has to obey the will of the magistrates. So it can indeed buy us some time, enough of which to get the information we need, and then, if needs be, potentially get Miss Sabor out of Corvosa for the fuss to die down. Because once you release the information, it will go out to the criers, and the criers will release the news, and these mobs should quieten down and prevent another riot for now. She looks at Venkala and she says, well, I'll have to word this message very carefully then, but that's not a bad idea, especially if it quells the riots. What do you four think?
Well, it's currently our best play. Calm these riots, put some semblance of order, denies what Iliosa wants for now, makes her play our game for once.
Indeed. The best way to play royalty is you get them to your terms. Never play on their terms. It is like going into a stacked gambling house. Very well. I shall wait for nightfall, and then I will get Miss Sabor safely away with the infiltrators' elixirs to Old Corvosa. If you wish to speak with her yourselves at any point, then please visit me at the Academy during Academy hours. If not, if you really must see me out of hours, then my house is literally just down to the south of the Academy, just literally down the road. You will not miss it.
Very well. If something comes up, or I, or anyone else has more questions, I'll let you know or pay you a visit.
Very well. Okay, let us do this. And one more thing. I hear that you have been, you four have been stepping on the toes of the Arconas.
The youngest. Melia, I believe?
He nods, and he just says,
Sloppy. The work she's doing is messy if I'm the one finding it and cleaning it.
that is what I was going to say to you, Mr. Ornelos. Just a heads up. It may appear sloppy, but nothing, and I mean nothing, Melia Arcona does is ever sloppy. If it appears that way, it is because she designs it that way. Speaking of which, Cressida, am I taking that sergeant as well? Yes, actually. If you could take Sergeant Van Kaskakin and his brother, also hide them, I would appreciate that, to make sure the Arconas This Chief speaks up. Quick side addition. You remember that dagger that you found at the Arcana that you found at Older Worlds Meet and you gave to me?
Was it there?
Yes.
I thought we found it in Lancet.
No, the silver dagger.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
the silver one, yes.
Yeah, she goes, yes, the one that was a gift given to Varric. It's disappeared.
Of course it has.
Well, she actually reaches into a drawer and she brings out a lockbox that she actually had. Just a small lockbox, just sort of like a case. And you can see that this lockbox has been broken. But what's interesting is, and you don't need a check to figure this out, the damage is quite clear. It's been broken from the inside.
Did we check any enchantments on that blade?
Not that I can remember.
Neither do I. Think it returned to sender.
Like I said, nothing Melia Arcana does is sloppy. And if it appears that way, it is only because she wills it. With that, I think that is actually a nice little dramatic point to close today's session of Curse of the Crimson Throne, because I've got a feeling next time it is the Arcanas. You still have a meeting arranged. Also, there is a bit of news for you. For the completion of the quest of Trinia Sabor, you earn a total of 120 experience points. That's level 4.
So we take over 60.
Yes, what are you at the moment? You're at 740 right now.
740.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, yep, you're at 60 XP into level 4. You ding. Well done.
I have stuff.
Oh, things get very interesting for you now. Things get very interesting for you. Because you got, I believe you got Sorceress Evolutions at this level if you wish to use them.
I'll have a nosy.
It's going to be interesting. And to be honest with you, with what's coming up for the party, they are perhaps going to need it, because when you rejoin us next session, it looks like the party, unless they choose to avoid it, are going to deal with one of the most powerful families, if not the most powerful family in Corvosa. That is not the royal family. So until then, thank you all very much for watching. We're out for now. Take care. Bye-bye.
You wanna tear down these walls, and I know you can do anything. But it's too late, too late, too late, too late. Slide down the rooftop, slide down.